I shot it!
The Chinese spy balloon is down now, but fallout from the international incident is just getting started.
Fair to say that the U.S.-China relationship has hit a spy plane-sized pothole that's going to make already fractious ties even worse.
Let's dig into it. Happening right now, military divers are searching the ocean for pieces of the balloon that was shot down over the weekend.
Yeah, they're combing about 7 square miles of the Atlantic Ocean right off the coast of Myrtle Beach. Let's take a look at the video here of the balloon falling as it's split into several different pieces. The military says no matter how big or small, they hope to find all of those pieces and take them back to the FBI lab. There's a specialized team which will analyze each part. A woman from Greensboro saw the fighter jet firing a single missile to take down that balloon.
I'm never going to see anything like this again. Like, this is so unique and so special. And it was really quite something. They hit it, and about 15 seconds after it hit, all you hear is this giant boom. Like, it finally like broke through the sound wave. We were able to hear what it hit, and everybody just started chanting USA. And the store that we were next to started playing Born in the USA. And I was like, wow, this is like a really patriotic moment for us.
There are still lots of questions hanging in the air around the balloon. Here's what we know from national security experts. The Chinese balloon was enormous, carrying a payload of cameras and antennas as big as 2 or 3 school buses. It was powered by solar panels and steered by a rudder as the prevailing winds pushed it eastward across the United States. China says it was simply a weather balloon that lost its way, but U.S. officials don't believe it.
The fact is, we know that it's a surveillance balloon.
I think it's weird.
Pentagon leaders said it carried no weapons and was not likely to pick up any intelligence Chinese satellites haven't already collected. Former National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster says it's the latest in a long line of Chinese spying.
Time for us to recognize that the Chinese Communist Party is engaged in this sustained campaign against the United States to extract as much data and information as the Chinese Communist Party can to gain an advantage over us. And this is an advantage militarily, you know, as this balloon loitered over sensitive sites, critical to our strategic deterrent capabilities. But also, you know, it's to get data that gives the Chinese Communist Party a differential advantage economically over us as well. But hopefully that's a moment, it'll be a moment where we can really recognize we're in a very consequential competition.
The balloon did pass over North Carolina on Saturday. Folks down in Charlotte spotted it floating up across the sky. Here's the path it took. The balloon was first spotted over Alaska on January 28th. It moved into Canadian airspace, then crossed back into the U.S. last Tuesday, passing over sensitive nuclear sites in Montana before heading east, finally being shot down off the coast of the South Carolina. It crossed the entire country before it got there. Now, Pentagon officials say the balloon hovered around 60,000 feet in the air, which is almost double what an airline jet would fly at. If you looked out the plane window, you know everything on the ground. It looks like teeny tiny ants moving around. So what can you really see from even higher at 60,000 feet? Here's CBS News' national security specialist, David Martin.
Back in the day, I actually went up to 60,000 feet in the back seat of a U-2. And up there, it's not just like being in an airliner, only higher. You can actually see the curvature of the Earth. And you're in a plane that is filled with cameras, which have obviously a much higher resolution than the human eye. And they're not looking just straight down, they're looking out and all around them. And they're sending those pictures up to a satellite, which is then relaying it down to a ground station where an intelligence analyst is watching in real time. The U-2 is a great intelligence collection platform. It's got one problem. Anybody with a missile that can get up to 60,000 feet can shoot it down. And of course, that turned out to be the balloon's problem as well.
Still, lots of folks online like Jorge are wondering, why did Biden take so long to shoot down the balloon? President Biden explained to reporters that they waited to shoot down the balloon until it was over the ocean so it wouldn't cause any damage on the ground.
I told them to shoot it down.
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
But the recommendation
They
from
said to me, let's wait till the safest place to do it.
Senior Biden officials also argued that closely observing the balloon in flight before shooting it down allowed us to better understand the Chinese program and further confirmed its mission was surveillance.
Well, again, China says this was just a weather balloon, not connected to the government. A few years ago, we went out to PTI Airport where they launched 2 weather balloons every day just to see how they work. See if you can catch a big difference between the real weather balloons and the Chinese spy balloon.
This is our radiosonde. So this is the instrument that actually collects all the data. This little probe here is the temperature probe. It collects the temperature data as it goes through the atmosphere. And here's the balloon. We fill up and it goes through the atmosphere. And we fill them up with anywhere from 1,600 to 2,200 grams of helium, which will help with the lift. The balloon's good until about anywhere from 90 to 100,000 feet, which is a run of 90 to 105 minutes. When we release this radiosonde with the balloon, it'll immediately start feeding back wind data. The balloon itself will pretty much disintegrate when it bursts. There's going to be very little, if anything, left. Once it bursts, the system shuts down and it stops tracking it.
Okay, so obviously the size of the real weather balloon versus a spy balloon, very different. But did you catch this? A real weather balloon flight is less than 2 hours normally. The balloon from China went from more than a week. Now, according to NASA, there is a new type of balloon technology that can now last up to 2 weeks, but it looks quite different than the balloon from China. That's part of what the FBI wants to compare when they get balloon samples into their labs.
While we wait for those results, foreign relations experts say tensions with China will continue to inflate. For example, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken postponed his trip to meet China's president.
And of course, as more develops, we'll be here to dig into it and explain the context behind the headlines.